Yeah, it was a merger, but really it was a crash of culture. So let's explore the third case study. This is a very interesting case study, and I think you'll see the difference here, and it might relate to quite a lot of the work that you're involved in or the organization you currently work in. So here was the picture. These two entities were forced together. They had no choice, but they both had very long histories of truly impressive performance excellence. So they were told the reason this is happening is to realize efficiencies. We don't need as many buildings, and we can actually utilize very expensive technology in new ways. There is incredible intelligence in this organization. And so how do we optimize that collective intelligence? And how do we also harness the potential to increase collaboration and also to get involved of this leads to something, the what, the so what, and the what if. But to be honest, we got brought in, and if you had to summarize the overall picture, yeah, it was a merger, but really it was a crash of culture. And so this was the initial CLA. Note the large number. So it was the ELT and then the SLT all contribute. What would we say that our culture, our collective leadership, how are we showing up? Things to note at the bottom of the circle. The actual measure was to the 80th percentile in protecting, to the 70th in controlling, and 46 or so in the complying. They don't want more, they're ideal. And note the difference here. Here this time is they still were getting some things done, but the lived experience for themselves and others was actually very painful, and it was very evident that that's not how they wanted to lead. And so here's the reality of this organization. Entity number one was had a core culture, which was about benefiting and how we do what we do need to do. It's very outward and global. It's progressive and dynamic. They were very small, very agile and adaptive. And their mantra for staffing was attract the best. Everyone's mindset was courage to own it, be autonomous, but see yourselves as partners. And the leaders had this, our job is direction and ambition. Entity number two, overall, their perspective of resources, of capital, was budgets are the driver, spend less. Their focus was inward and just local. It was very clearly a brand of tradition and tried and true. Don't break it because it's not broken. Don't touch it. Really, they didn't have the idea of, they thought bigger is better. So they kept on trying to take on more. Staffing was just like, stay where you are, stay in your silo, do what you need to do, but very safe. Just don't do anything. The mindset was rules-based, and they were seeking permission all the time. I better ask somebody else, is that okay? And finally, the leader's idea was how we should lead is to control things, and we need to protect our people from the outside world. Ultimately, it ended in a very stormy world, and they've been trying to work it through before we turned up. And it was huge, really impressively, as you saw from the CLA, that data was pleasing to us because it told us there was so much energy still in the system that we've got great opportunity to engage with them to take this energy and do something else with it rather than be destructive. And so the program was very short. They said, we want to move quickly. We don't have budget. They wanted to involve more people. Note 24 of 180. Co-designs very tight. We had large people in the room, large numbers of people in the room. They all wanted to have a say. And so what would we focus on in those forums, which is very clearly on things they needed to do, but also things they need to be. As an example, trust was a major driver here. We once again used what we refer to as the leader-led conversations. We wanted them to go, not I went to a workshop, but actually engage in new ways across every opportunity. The two entities were mixed. This leaders go there, those leaders go there, and we start talking about our. We start talking about we start talking about us. And importantly, the idea is that we did that, we mixed different levels and different functional groups in peer coaching. So let's look, I'm moving a little bit quicker now because you're getting the idea about the before and after. You can actually see at a glance what the shifts were. And you'll see there's some changes here, but the changes weren't as dramatic. Certainly they didn't want to let go of the reactive, but pleasingly, there was big increases in the creative. Note, this is a very short time period, yes? And so we know with more time and effort, the results would have gone further. I'm just giving you an example of sometimes you can only move and engage with people with the time and the resources available to you, but still celebrate and applaud with them. It is not easy to let go of the reacting when you've actually learned patterns of habits, patterns of mind, and habits of behavior. So we were celebrating with them that the risks of not doing it, still the learning to actually lead in this new way actually changed things for them. So cultural measures, there was new levels of cohesion and trust. They were very courageous now, and we were observing that and engaging with them how to do that. They started talking with pride about what had been achieved and with each other. There was unity, and that idea about unity then allowed them to say, what are the real issues and what are the emerging, our futures, what could it look like? They were understanding and trying new ways to access core strengths within each other rather than compete. And the idea about that we have a unifying purpose. We did a lot of work here, and this is a short version of it, but our core purpose was to find, incubate, and harvest ideas. They were so pleased with that. Why do we exist? To find, incubate, and harvest ideas. And they really got on board with that. So this new culture, a mindset action, is about driving innovation. So just the level 4 metrics. This is an example of the type of language they use with us post the program, and I'll let you have a read of that. We're particularly pleased this idea they saw it as an enduring foundations, so that they had what they needed to continue, and they had shared language, common practices, and way of actually being with each other.